Chapter 14, Bhagavad Gita, 26th verse. Can anyone say what is the title of this chapter?
Three modes of material nature.
Thank you so much, sir. The three modes of material nature. Who can say what are the three modes of material nature?
Sattva, Rajo, Tamo.
Yes, Sattva, Rajo and
Tama.
Tamaguna. Yes. Okay, can you also say in English what is Sattva means? So that everybody can understand.
Mode of goodness.
Mode of goodness. Then?
Passion and ignorance.
Mode of passion and mode of ignorance. Thank you so much. Yes, that's what the name itself suggests. Mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. So let's read the verse, recite the verse, and then let's also read the translation and purport. Then we'll try to discuss. Mam chayo vabhicharena.
Mam chayo vyabhishena.
Mam chayo vabhicharena. Bhakti yogena sevate. Sagunan samadityaitan.
Samadityatam.
Brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Bhuyaya kalpate.
Rajan uncle, would you like to recite the verse?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
Mam chayo vyabhicharena.
Mam chayo vyabhicharena.
Bhakti yogena sevate.
Bhakti yogena sevate.
Saguna samadityatam.
Sagunan samadityaitan.
Brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Thank you. Please also read the translation on this page as well.
Translation. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Purport. This verse is a reply to Arjuna's third question. What is the means of attaining the transcendental position? As explained before, the material world is acting under the spell of the modes of material nature. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna activities. Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna, but his different plenary expansions, such as Rama and Narayana. I'll repeat this. Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna, but his different plenary expansions, such as Rama and Narayana. He has innumerable expansions. One who is engaged in the service of any of the forms of Krishna or of his plenary expansions is considered to be transcendentally situated.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anyone from Parthipan Prabhu's family, can you read the next page? 14.
587.
Parthipan Prabhu's family, are you reading?
Yes, Prabhu. Sorry, I was in mute. Hare Krishna.
That's okay. Yeah.
I will read. Yeah, okay. One should also note that all the forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, full of knowledge, and eternal. Such personalities of Godhead are omnipotent and omniscient, and they possess all transcendental qualities. So, if one engage himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. This has already been explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of the modes of material nature. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. The Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of Supreme. As gold particles are part of gold mine, thus the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality. The difference of individuality continues, otherwise there would be no question of Bhakti Yoga. I will repeat the underlined sentence. If one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Niranjan Garu, would you like to continue this page? Niranjan Garu?
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Bhakti Yoga means that the Lord is there, the devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee is there. Therefore, the individuality of two persons is present in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the individual person. Otherwise, there would be no meaning to Bhakti Yoga. If one is not situated in the same transcendental position with the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. To be a personal assistant to a king, one must acquire the qualifications. Thus, the qualification is to become Brahman or freed from all material contamination. It is said in the Vedic literature, Brahmaiva san Brahmapyeti. One can attain the Supreme Brahman by becoming Brahman. This means that one must qualitatively become one with Brahman. By the attainment of Brahman, one does not lose his eternal Brahman identity as an individual soul. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Okay. Anyone from Omvir Prabhu's family, can you only read the translation alone?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman.
Thank you so much. So, devotees, this is a very important verse. This verse also been told by last week, Bhakti Marg Maharaj. He quoted this verse and he said, if possible, we should all memorize this verse. So since he has told us, maybe we'll try to recite 2 more times. So it is easy for us to memorize. If we read stanza by stanza, it is easy to memorize. Verse memorization is very helpful because these words were directly spoken by the Supreme Lord. They have that potency in it. So whenever mind bothers, if we try to recite this verse, you will immediately, I can guarantee you, you will immediately find solace, and also you can connect with that verse. So it is very, very wonderful. We can try as much as I know for everybody. It may not be easier to memorize Sanskrit verse, but whatever we can, we should try. And another thing, even if we cannot do it so perfectly, doesn't matter, because what Krishna sees is our effort. If Krishna sees that this devotee is trying to repeat my words, we become so pleased to him. If you remember this beautiful story, which is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he visited Srirangam, he saw in one particular mandapa. Mandapa means in one particular place where one Brahmana, he was sitting and reciting Bhagavad Gita verses. But this Brahmana was literally struggling because he was an illiterate person. In the sense, he didn't go to school. So he couldn't read properly. So he was trying to read as much as he can, but so many mistakes he was making while reading. And so many other people and the Brahmanas and the priests, they were all just laughing at him. Look at this guy, he doesn't know how to read, but he's trying to make a show of reading Bhagavad Gita. Every day he comes and sits down here. What is this? He doesn't even feel shame of himself like that. They would literally speak in such a way that this Brahmana can hear exactly. But he was never disturbed by any of these issues. He was never disturbed by any of these teasings of people. He would come every day in the evening, he would start reading Bhagavad Gita. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, during his earthly Leela, he visited South India. And especially in Srirangam, he stayed 4 months. Can you imagine the Supreme Lord who came? Radha Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They visited South India many places. There, especially in Srirangam alone, he stayed for 4 months. So he visited the Srirangam temple. There he saw this Brahmana. And there he was trying to recite Bhagavad Gita, but he was not able to recite perfectly. At the same time, people around him, they were literally mocking at him, teasing him. Mahaprabhu looked at that person. He was completely undisturbed by any of the teasings of people. But he was crying. He was shedding tears. So Mahaprabhu thought, he should give mercy to this man. So he went to the Brahmana and said, Hare Krishna, oh Brahmana, I'm very impressed that you are reading Bhagavad Gita, and I was told by the people that you come here every day to read. And I also understand, you're trying your best. And I see people are mocking at you. Are you okay? He said, yes, I'm fine. I can't read Bhagavad Gita because I'm an illiterate person. But my spiritual master, he told me that every day I must read Bhagavad Gita if I want to be successful in life. So I understand I can't read properly. I'm struggling. But still, because my Guru Maharaj told me, I come here every day to read. Mahaprabhu became so pleased. So he wanted this man to be known throughout the entire world. So he asked one more question. Okay, I understand that you want to fulfill your Guru Maharaj's desire, but why are you crying? Are you crying because people are teasing you? He said, no, I'm not crying because of that. This Bhagavad Gita, we all know, right? What is there on the cover of Bhagavad Gita? Anyone?
Krishna and Arjuna.
What are they doing?
Like
Is preaching. Krishna is preaching Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, right. Where? Which place?
In the Kurukshetra.
In the Kurukshetra. So that is the picture we see, right? That is the picture we see on the cover. So there he pointed to that and saying, look at this. This personality who is the Supreme Lord of the entire creation. Just think about us, all of us. If we own one house in Windsor or Toronto, we become super happy. 2, 3, our happiness is unlimited, right? Why? Because we possess 2, 3 houses or 2 houses or 1 house, or sometimes, trying to have some land, whatever. Just imagine if a person owns the entire Windsor and entire Ontario, entire Canada, and all the 196 countries in the entire Earth planet. Not only that, all the planets in this universe. Not only that, not just this universe, owns the entire universal kingdom, everything in this, all the unlimited universes. Not only that, not only this material universes, he also owns the entire spiritual creation, all the planets put together. Can you imagine? Can we try to understand what Krishna's position is? Right? He's not just an ordinary king or a prime minister or a president. He's the Supreme Lord. These prime minister, president, they can hardly be there for 4 years. And within that, there is so much of, happenings. But Supreme Lord, he is Supreme Lord forever. And that Supreme Lord, who owns everything, and he is being served by thousands of Lakshmi. Lakshmi Sahasra, Brahma Samhita, Brahmaji says, Lakshmi Sahasra. Thousands of Lakshmis. We all are praying to Lakshmi. Why? Lakshmi Devi, please make sure we're always prosperous. Please give us everything we need. We are praying to Lakshmi Devi, and that Lakshmi Devi is massaging the lotus feet of the plenary expansion of the plenary expansion of the plenary expansion of Krishna. And not only one Lakshmi, like that, there are thousands of Lakshmi, because in each universe, one Garbhodaksha Vishnu is there. Like that, there are unlimited universes. That means there are unlimited Lakshmi Devis massaging the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord and praying to him. Can you believe that? So that Supreme Lord who is being worshipped and served by that Lakshmi Devi, goddess of fortune, is coming and he is driving the chariot. For who? For his devotee Arjuna. Can you understand the intensity? Supreme Lord of the entire creation coming as a taxi driver, something similar, right? Taxi driver. So he's coming and riding the chariot, not just to show off. Hey, excuse me, like, how the politicians during the time of election, they go to, some villages and go to a, poor hut of a person. And then they try to, kind of make a show that they are very kind to everyone. They're very kind to poor people and they eat at their house. In fact, they bring food from outside, some expensive restaurant, but they just make sure they sit in the hut and eat, right? This is all to make show, to make people believe that he is kind and he is generous and he doesn't discriminate. But Supreme Lord is not like that. These people are doing for some cheap politics. But whereas the Supreme Lord, he doesn't drive chariot just to make a show so that people will say, oh, Krishna, look at him, he's so humble. Not because of that. Out of love for his devotee. How many days did he drive the chariot?
18 days.
18 days. And did he drive the chariot on, 401 or I-95 or I-75, cruising in 100 miles per hour, in a very amazing. Did he do that? Where was he riding the chariot?
Without any road, Prabhuji.
Without any road, but which place?
Kurukshetra.
Kurukshetra. What was happening there?
War.
War. War is not something like we sit in a room and press a button and this missile goes zzz, dup. Not like that. They were doing hand-to-hand combat. And they were warriors of all sorts. Sword, then archery, everything was there. And lances. But just imagine when you are in the chariot is not covered with bulletproof windows, right? Chariot is open. So who will get the arrows first? The chariot driver. Who is the chariot driver here? Charioteer?
Krishna.
Lord. Can you believe all the arrows? It is not that he only had bulletproof and Arjuna will get everything. No. Most of the arrows were hitting Krishna too. And here Krishna took that humble position. That is not just, that is not the only thing. Furthermore, I've told this many, many times, which is my very, very favorite thing. Whenever you think about this, devotees, please meditate on this. You will immediately feel that connection with Krishna. Imagine you are in the middle of a battle, in the war, which is so intense. This side, there are 25 lakh people. That is 2.5 million people. The other side, 1.5 million people. So how many million people? 4 million people are fighting with each other, right? Very intense. And many of them are super powerful. Some are called as Rathis, some are called as Ardharathis, some are called as Maharathis, some are called as, what is that? What is the other word? Atirathis. So based on their ability to tackle how many people and how many chariots, they're given different names, right? So many powerful people are there. Like people like even, very lowly character of Dushashan, right? Dushashan. He is powerful of 10,000 elephants. Like that, there are so many warriors on both sides, powerful warriors. And they have powerful weapons too. And Krishna is riding the chariot of his own devotee, Arjuna, out of love. And when he moves forward in the chariot, right, we have told many, many times, Arjuna may not have time to say, Krishna, oh my Supreme Lord, can you please take the right side and go straight and then go left? Would he have time for all these things? No. How would he convey the message? He would use his leg, he would use his feet and touch on the left side. That means go left. Right side, that means go right. On the center of the back, that means go straight. Can you imagine? Even we cannot do with any of our family members. They get annoyed. What do you mean you're kicking me all the time, right? And who is he kicking? Who is Arjuna kicking here? The Supreme Lord. Is he the Supreme Lord of one place, one country, one city, one universe? He is the Supreme Lord of unlimited material universes plus spiritual universes. That is the humility and simplicity of the Supreme Lord. So, again, coming back to the story in Srirangam, here that Brahmana says, that Supreme Lord, he takes the humble position, menial position of a chariot driver and rides the chariot for his own devotee Arjuna. What a personality he is. What an amazing supreme person he is. Such a love he has on everyone. So whenever I think of this, that my Supreme Lord, he is riding the chariot for his devotee, I immediately start crying. So I can't stop crying whenever I read Bhagavad Gita. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately gave a tight embrace to that Brahmana and said, Brahmana, you have understood the Bhagavad Gita properly. You have understood the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So I bless you that you always have this love for Krishna. As soon as Mahaprabhu's transcendental body touched the Brahmana immediately had Krishna Prema, pure spiritual love for Krishna. And his life completely changed. And this became like the viral topic for the whole city. You know, these days viral videos are very popular, right? What do we need to do to make it viral? Something very different, unique, and then put it in WhatsApp, then it goes viral. But here, this message of Mahaprabhu showering costless mercy on this Brahmana became big topic there. Why? Everyone is realizing Mahaprabhu is not an ordinary person. And when he blesses someone, that person immediately gains pure love of Godhead, Krishna Prema. Coming back again. So Bhagavad Gita is the word of the Supreme Lord. Nowhere, no other faiths have such potent and rich, words, the transcendental words of the Supreme Lord. Here, Supreme Lord directly has given Bhagavad Gita, Song of God. So it is very nice if we can remember even few verses, if not at least one verse, if not at least one stanza, if we can remember, Krishna is very pleased. So can we try to please Krishna by trying to remember this verse? We will recite 3-4 times. Is that okay? Can I request everybody? Okay. Let's start with Ombir Prabhu. Can you recite? We will follow you.
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Mam chayo vicharene.
Mam chayo vyabhicharena.
Bhakti yogena sevate.
Bhakti yogena sevate.
Segunan samtityaitan.
Sagunan samtityaitan.
Brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Thank you, Prabhuji. From Gauriji's family, would you like to recite today?
I'm sorry, Prabhuji. Today I won't be able to.
That's all right. I understand. Who else would like to recite? Please volunteer forward. Anyone? I would appreciate anyone. Yes, please. Chanti auntie, please do.
Mam chayo vyabhicharene.
Mam chayo vyabhicharena.
Bhakti yogena sevate.
Bhakti yogena sevate.
Sagunan samatyakyam.
Sagunan samadityaitan.
Brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Thank you so much, Jayanti auntie. Who else? One more. Let's read. Let's recite. Don't worry about the pronunciation. Krishna wants our efforts, our desire. Anyone? Should I call out name?
Can I do, Prabhuji?
Yes, please.
Mam chayo vyabhicharena.
Mam chayo vyabhicharena.
Bhakti yogena sevate.
Bhakti yogena sevate.
Sagunan samatiyatan.
Sagunan Samadityaitan
Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate.
Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Thank you so much, Mataji. So that is such potent, such amazing verse this is. So, three things we need to be mindful of this in this verse, in this translation. If you see, one who engages in full devotional service, that is first. How? Unfailing in all circumstances, without fail, all time. What happens to him? He at once transcends the modes of material nature. And what happens to him? He will come to the level of Brahman. So, let's try to see here. We all understand, right? The three modes of material nature. In this material world, we are all, no one is exempt. Everyone is under the control of Maya Devi. And how does Maya Devi controls? Can you see in this picture? She controls us in these three modes of material nature. They are like ropes. Guna means quality. Another meaning of guna is rope. So with that rope, with mode of Sattva Guna, Tamo Guna, Raja Guna, and many times they are mixed also. With that, we are helplessly bound. We are helplessly suffering in this material world. You believe it or not, that's what we go through. Just try to, recollect our own life. In the morning, we all feel very peaceful, right? When you wake up early morning, especially when you wake up early morning, you feel very peaceful. But when we wake up late, like anything after 9 o'clock, generally people will feel depressed. Why? That's how it is. Because they didn't wake up in mode of goodness. They woke up in mode of passion. And especially if they sleep past noon, they wake up in the afternoon, they become very irritated, annoyed. Why? Because they are moving towards mode of ignorance. They missed both, kind of, because by the time evening sets, mode of ignorance gets in. So everything in this world has this mode of three modes of material nature. Everything. They falls in either one of them or mixed together. Music, we all know, right? As parents, especially those who grew up in 60s, 70s, I remember, in the Tamil music, as those days, my grandfather or my father used to say, those days music were so pleasing to the ear and heart. And the words were like, really like blessing words. But these days, words are like cursing words. And music is like beating each other. Like that my father used to say. Like, I understand, different generation, people appreciate different things. But if you try to analyze, many of the music were in mode of goodness those days. And the songs and the voice also pleasing. It'll be like blessing. Many times it's like, lullaby songs, all this. It's not like dancing like crazy and trying to throw things, burst things, not like that. It was some pleasing. Why? People wanted to be in mode of goodness. So music is also in three different modes. Mode of goodness music, mode of passion, mode of ignorance music. Mode of ignorance music, words are not heard at all. Only drums or only some music which is really jarring to the ears. Some people like that. Why? Because they are in mode of ignorance. And food again. Everything. Food we know. Some food we understand. By eating that we say this food is sattvic food. It actually, when sattvic food, when we eat, what happens? You feel nourished, you feel happy. These two things happens. And when we eat food in rajas, what happens? While we eat, we may like it. But after that, we go through the misery. And when it comes to us also, we go through the misery. Both times, eating and coming out. And mode of ignorance, full of miseries. So that's why it is recommended to live a sattvic lifestyle. Why? Not only gives you happiness, you will also feel satisfied and you make progress. Because only in sattvic mode, you can actually make proper decisions and improve your life and move on towards higher levels. That's why if you remember, almost I'm sure all of your parents might have told you at least one point of a time or at least once that study in the early morning, right? How many of your parents have told you that? Yes, they've told you study in the early morning. Why in the early morning? Any thoughts?
I think you are in Sattva-guna, but in scientifically, your brain is more receptive.
Exactly. That's what science says things in a different wordings, but they say the same thing. Sattva-guna, and brain is very fresh, and it can absorb things quickly. That is what is the nature of Sattva Guna. To Sattva Guna people, you don't have to keep on repeating things. You don't have to keep on, trying to explain the same thing over and over and again. Sattva Guna, at that time, mind is also fresh, brain is fresh, and they can grasp, and moreover, extraneous noises are less. Early morning, generally, it's quiet and also very conducive for learning, very conducive for worship and, praying to Supreme Lord, all this. That is how everything was centered around. Even now, I've seen some of the villages, they sleep early. Many times, if you go to Mayapur in Bengal, many devotees try to go to sleep by 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, but they wake up very early in the morning. But what happens these days? If you are in mode of ignorance, we go to bed by 3 or 4 o'clock. And then what time we will wake up? Easily 10 past or 11, 12. Sometimes, many times that's what happens. Then when they wake up itself, they become very tired. See, imagine if you have a good rest, we should feel fresh, right? But when we sleep late, and even if you sleep for 10 hours, still we don't feel fresh. Isn't that true? Yes? Or it is only me thinking like that?
You are right, Prabhuji.
Yes, that is because the modes again. Thank you. The modes act on us. Whether we believe the word modes or not, modes will act on you. It is like fire. Child may not believe about the fire. Father will say, don't touch the fire. Child will say, I don't care. Then he'll go near. Father will say, don't touch the fire, it will burn you. My father is always talking like this. Beta, don't touch the fire, it's going to burn you. But still, the child goes and touches the fire. What happens? Ouch! Then start crying and say, fire burnt me, fire burnt me. Say, I told you fire burns you. No, but I thought you're joking. But that's the truth. Whether we believe the fire will burn or not, fire will anyway burn because that is the nature. Similarly, whether we believe modes of material nature is there or not, they will act on us. That's why morning we feel better. By the time 9 o'clock hits on, working days, we get that passion. I need to finish that. I have this deadline, that line, Then stock market goes up and down. We get everything. We get into the mode of Raja. And then by the time we are squeezed by all the bosses or corporates, we come back in the evening just like, sugarcane, which was completely squeezed out of sugarcane juice. And we become very tired, throw our bag and sit down on our sofa and try to watch something which is in mode of ignorance. That is how most of the time life becomes. Then what happens? Feel very tired, feel very left out, feel very lonely, feel very depressed. All these things also. But if we try to situate ourselves in mode of goodness, who needs to take that step? We need to take that step. If we do that, as Krishna says, we can definitely see real progress in our life. We can definitely get ultimate success. The point here, if you remember in the 7th chapter, Krishna said, Arjuna, this Maya Shakti, right, is not ordinary. They are my Divya Shakti. It came from me, Daivihesha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Duratyaya, Mam Evaye Prapadyante, Mayam Etam Tarantite. He says, this Daivihesha Gunamayi, this Divya Shakti, that is also my energy, Maya Shakti, is very powerful to overcome. But there is one way to overcome. Do you know what, Arjuna? Mam Evaye Prapadyante, surrender unto me, then you can easily overcome. That is the formula he gave in 7th chapter. Now in this chapter, see, imagine, 7th chapter he said, now in the 14th chapter, he is elaborating on that and he's saying, first we have to engage in full devotional service. What is devotional service? Anyone? What is devotional service? Bhakti, right? Bhakti is devotional service. What we say, Bhakti, Bhakti, Bhakti all the time, that's what is devotional service. Prabhupada always translates devotional service, Bhakti as devotional service. Because many times we think Bhakti means doing only this thing. Bhakti means service. What is service? When we serve, that person whom we are serving has to be pleased, right? That is the point. Service means you want to do some work for that person whom you are serving and to please him. Coming back. So here, Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he gives a beautiful understanding about Bhakti. He says these are the 9 things which encompasses Bhakti. What are those 9 things? Anyone? We know that very well. We have told many, many times. What are the 9 process or 9 limbs of bhakti? Anyone?
Shravanam, Kirtanam,
Shravanam,
Smaranam,
Kirtanam,
Paduka
Smaranam,
Sevanam, Archanam,
Padasevanam,
Vandanam,
Archanam.
Dasaswam, Sakhaswam, and Atmanivedam.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All these put together, they are devotional service. They are the limbs of devotional service. You can do either 1 or 2 or 3 or all. You get the benefit. So we have seen, when we listen Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, both benefit. Whoever is listening, they are doing Shravanam. Whoever is speaking, they are doing Kirtanam and Shravanam, because when we speak, we also hear us, right? So both happens. Shravanam, Kirtanam happens here. And when we speak about Krishna, just now I was telling about the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then what do? We remember the Supreme Lord, correct? We visualize it. Then we try to remember. So we do Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam all at one go. So that is Bhakti. What we are doing now is devotional service. That's all. Devotional service doesn't mean that you have to stay in the temple all the time, 24 hours. That is also one limb of Bhakti, Archana, right? Vandanam, offering worship, offering prayers, Archanam, Vandanam. They are also one of the limbs. But Shravanam, Kirtanam, they are given most importance. Only when we have heard enough, then we can understand Krishna. So that's why hearing about Krishna in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Krishna's words in the form of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is the first most important step in Bhakti, devotional service. When we do that, then we will be able to glorify the Supreme Lord. So, hearing is most important. Of all the devotional service, the very most and very, very, very important aspect is Kirtanam, especially the chanting of the holy names. The chanting of Hare Krishna Maha mantra, the greatest of all mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is the most important of all. It is by all the acharyas, 99% of our spiritual life depends on our chanting. And rest of the things will facilitate us to chant properly. So that is how it is important. So when we do that, we are perfectly moving towards Krishna. And as Krishna says, what happens? The moment you start hearing Bhagavad Gita, we start chanting, then we will gradually, we are coming out of modes of material nature even without your knowledge. How we can understand? If you try to remember, before we started reading Bhagavad Gita and started chanting, what were we? What was we doing? And what are we doing now? And how is our consciousness? With that, you can start gauging, understand, oh, wow, that really makes sense. Yes, there is a very positive change. And the more we do, as Krishna promises, see here, unfailing in all circumstances. If we do that every day, unfailing, without fail, every day if we chant, every day we hear, then what happens? We transcend the modes of material nature. And then what happens? It is not just only we are free from the modes of material nature. We come to the level of Brahman. So here in the purport, Prabhupada says, if you want to be a servant of king, you need to be qualified. Not anybody can become servant of king. Even here also in the material world, right? Like if you want to become a personal secretary or personal bodyguard of prime minister, can you just go and say, excuse me, I do workout every day, look at my muscles. Can I be your personal assistant? Or can I be your bodyguard? No, they won't appoint you like that. You need to be qualified. There is a vigorous testing process. They have that interview process and there is qualification needed. And not only that, they also check your loyalty, right? They do so many ways. They just don't take anyone as a personal bodyguard or a personal secretary. There is a vigorous process. Similarly, if we want to go to the Supreme Lord, we need to qualify ourselves. How we qualify? By engaging in bhakti, all circumstances without fail. Then what happens? We are free from all the contamination, free from all the faults. We are transcended above the 3 modes of material nature. We come to the level of Brahman, then we are qualified. If we, Prabhupada also says in the purport, we all living entities, right? We are qualitatively one with Krishna. That means if we try to develop spiritual qualities, we can elevate ourselves and we can qualitatively, be one with Krishna. But in quantity, Krishna is unlimited. He is infinity. What is infinity? Unlimited. And we are infinitesimal. We are so small. And Krishna is huge, big. But in quality, it is said when we perfect our life, we can get up to 78%. We read in Srimad Bhagavatam recently, if you remember, right? Yesterday. We can get the quality, the divine qualities up to 78%. So that much Krishna is very kind. It is like you become, secretary of Bill Gates or Elon Musk. And, every month he give you billions of dollars. In a matter of time, you have equal amount of wealth, almost closing. Like if he has 100,000, like maybe $100 billion, and he is giving you $78 billion to you. Can you understand with the numbers? If you're working for Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, he has $100 billion. Okay. Or let's go for 1,000 billion. Okay. $1,000 billion. And he gives you $780 billion. This is for you, my servant, because I'm very pleased with you. It's like that. So how wonderful you feel, right? So you're almost there. But if you see a person who has hardly, a few thousand or few $100, for him, both are almost same. 100 billion and 780 billion is almost same. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Because both are huge. So 78% itself is huge number to get the qualities. So Krishna is very kind. He gives us that. So that's why we need to elevate ourselves. Krishna is always waiting for us. Krishna is always looking for, as a loving father, as a loving mother. When will the child come back? With that love he's looking at. Here, he very nicely says, all the activities we do in Krishna consciousness, they are called as Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti, we read devotional service. Yoga means connecting with God. Let me give this example. With that, we will understand. What do we mean by yoga? Can we just do without that? See, suppose I have this hand, okay, and think that it is very powerful. I can do so many things. I can lift, 150 pounds with one hand and do things. And also I can, fix light bulbs. I can do so many things. I can use computers all with this hand. So one fine day, my friend comes and says that, oh, Raj, it's only your hands doing that, all the work. So let me cut your hand and take it away and take it with me. So I can use, I already have two hands and I have one more hand of yours and I can do a lot of work. Will that work? Because the hand is cut from my body, what will happen to the hand? The hand will become useless because it is no more connected to the body. As long as this hand is connected with the body, it can function. So for anything to be useful or anything to be like anything we want to understand, we need three things. We need to understand the source, understand the connection, and understand the purpose. So the hand's source is my body and it is connected to my body. And what is the purpose of this hand? To serve this body. How? When I eat, the hand actually mixes the food and bring it to my mouth and digestion happens and all the energy is spread all over the body, right? So the hand has to harmoniously work for the body. So hand's purpose is to serve the body. Similarly, we living entities, as long as we are connected to the source, who is the source, ultimate source of everything? Supreme Lord Krishna. And what is our connection? Our connection is we are Das, Dasanudas. We are always eternal servant. Jivera Swarupa Hoi, Krishnera Nityadas. Can everybody repeat after me? It's a very important verse for us. Jivera Swarupa Hoi.
Jivera Swarupa Hoi.
Jivera Swarupa Hoi.
Jivera Swarupa Hoi.
Krishnera Nityadas.
Krishnera Nityadas.
Yes, thank you so much. That means the nature of the Jiva, living entity, is Krishnera Nityadas, to be eternal servant of Krishna. That's what it means. So that is our connection with Krishna. And what is the purpose? Purpose is to serve and please Krishna. That's all. Source, connection, and what is the third one? What is the third one? Soul,
Purpose.
soul's connection and purpose. Thank you so much. So when we understand that, that is what is yoga. Yoga means we are trying to connect our individual soul to the Supreme Lord. You can either connect through intelligence or connect through your work. If you connect through your work, it's called Karma Yoga. If you connect through your intelligence, it's called Jnana Yoga. If you connect through meditation, it's called Dhyana Yoga. If you connect through Bhakti, love, if you connect through love, it's called as Bhakti Yoga. The interesting thing is, if you connect through love and Bhakti, that means you have done all three plus extra love. So you get extra benefit. So that's why Bhakti Yoga always stands tall, always on the top. That is the top rung of the ladder of yoga. So when we connect ourselves with the Supreme Lord by performing devotional service, we are perfectly situated, and that is the fail-proof method for ultimate success. And Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he guarantees that. Krishna guarantees that. Anyone who does that, where he guarantees in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. And previous to that, that verse manmana bhavamad bhaktu madhyajimam namaskuru mam evaya prabhatit. In that, very nicely, he says, first he says about, in the 65th verse, the process of surrender. And in the 66th verse, he says, what happens when you surrender? He says, you don't have to worry about anything. Ma suchaha, do not fear. He says, I will remove all the sinful reactions. And not only that, you will come to me. In the previous verse, he says, you will come to me without fail, I guarantee you. So that is Krishna's guarantee. What we need to do? We just need to follow this process of Bhakti Yoga, which is devotional service, especially the chanting of the holy names and hearing very regularly and remembering the Lord. That's all. Is that a difficult process? Is that something we need to stand upside down for 2 hours to do this? No? Or if we have to go to our roof and stand there on one leg and do something? No need, right? Or do we have to go, like with just our, whatever dress we are wearing without any jackets on the cold winter and do something? No, it's not at all difficult. You can be comfortably seated on your sofa, and you can read and chant. That's all Krishna wants. What a merciful Lord he is, right? Can you believe that? To go back to the spiritual world, this is what is needed. He doesn't want us to do any, very strenuous hard work. He just wants our love. We just need to do with love and devotion. That's all. Our Ishan says this verse. Ishan, are you there to chant this verse? Patram Pushpam, you want to chant?
Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo Me Bhaktya Priyachati Tadam Bhaktya Uparitam Ashnami Priyatatmanaha.
Thank you so much, Ishant. In that verse, one of the most important verses in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that, right? When you offer, what is this? Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam. Patra means leaf, Pushpam, flower, Phalam, fruit, Toyam, water. If you offer, you don't have to offer 56 varieties of food. Even if you offer these things, I'm very pleased. If you offer, opulent 56 varieties of food, Krishna is very happy. It's not that he's not happy, he's happy. But that is not the only requirement to make him happy. Even if we don't have all those things, if you have a little fruit, take it to Krishna and say, Krishna, this is what I have for today. Please accept this. How? With love and devotion, 2 ingredients. Whether you put all the masalas or not, we should put the ingredient of love and devotion. Krishna. Just how we offer with love to child, we don't throw the banana, hey, catch it, eat it. Right? We say, beta, take this, eat it. Son, please eat this. Daughter, please eat this. With love, right? You understand, right? Even if the child says, no, I don't want it, we say, little bit better. It's so nice, so wonderful, this, that. We say so many things and feed with love. Similarly, with love, we take a fruit. If you don't have fruit, a leaf, a little bit water. Water is available. When you open the tap, water is available, right? Or flower, one flower. Krishna, please accept this. With love and devotion, Krishna says, I will accept it. That is the Supreme Lord. What we need, love and devotion. So that's what in this verse, Krishna, again and again, he says very nicely that anyone who performs devotional service right? Unfailingly in all circumstances, what happens to him? He will be easily at once transcends the modes of material nature and then comes to the level of Brahman. So with that, we will conclude. So thank you all so much for your patient listening and kind attention. Thank you so much. Are there any questions or anything that you want to share?
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes, please.
There is unfailing. So if I have a little bit trouble, so I'll just leave my chanting. I won't leave any other duty, but I will leave my chanting. I don't know. I have deep impression. I think Krishna is not there. So how to be unfailing?
Yes. See, we need to understand. That's why jnana helps. Jnana means knowledge. When jnana is applied, it becomes vijnana, right? It becomes realization. All of us have chanted. All of us have been reading regularly. We understand that this chanting is very, very important for me to perfect our life. Just like when you know that this particular subject, that science or math, it is very important for me to get into college. So without that, nothing is going to work. So what do? We put effort, right? We make sure we wake up early and study, prepare properly. Exam is there after 3 months, but we actually organize our life in such a way that we study, prepare, and do well, right? We have a goal. Similarly, when we understand, I just said about the universal aspect, right? Now let's come back to the living entities aspect. How many living entities are there? 84 lakh species, 8.4 million. In that, only 400 are human beings. And all the 8 million species, they don't have karma because their consciousness is not on a higher level. They have consciousness, but they don't have higher consciousness like human beings. They cannot make a higher inquiry. So we cannot say that don't they have consciousness? Of course they have consciousness, but our consciousness is going to be higher. Why? We can do this 4 things, right? A, B, C, D. Ability to inquire, ability to make higher inquiry, and then ability to experience bliss, ananda. Then C for choices, and D for determination. In fact, that is the difference. That is what will differentiates us from animals. In the beginning of the classes, we have told, right? These 4 things are needed. Then only we can even come to the human platform. First, to make higher inquiry, then to experience bliss. Third one is choices. We have that option. We can make choices. Can a dog say, today I want only, tomato rice, or only today tamarind rice? Can they make that choice? They cannot, but we can make that choice. I want paneer sabji with naan. I want paneer sabji with aloo paratha. We can make that choice, right? So we have that in human life, that choices, and then determination. Not only that, we are determined to get it. So choice and determination. So we have to make that right choice. With determination, we should move forward. When we understand, that's where jnana will become like a torchlight. Excuse me. Somehow we have been through all possible life in the creatures. We have been a mosquito. We've been a cockroach. We've been a monkey. We've been a dog or a cat or any animals. We've been through so many animals. We have been to practically most of the animal kingdoms. Right now, we are in human life. It is like you struggle so hard to get into IIT or Harvard. Okay, it's not easy, right? It's very difficult. People study right from their 9th grade to get into all these places, right? Even here also, they study SAT or whatever exams. When we understand it's so hard, and by Krishna's mercy, you got it. And after going there, you just say that I am not going to college, forget it. I just got into Harvard or I got into IIT. So I'm not going to go to class. I'm not going to graduate because I already entered. Will that be enough?
No.
Enough. Same here. We have got human life, which is very rare. I've told many, many times, there are trillions and zillions of living entities. In that, just imagine what is the number Google, right? Google means you can't put number to it. So many living entities. In that, only 760 are human beings. That's all. You see the number, so many zeros, in that only 760 billion are human beings. That's how rare it is. If you see the percentage, it may be like 0.000000001%, like that. That is human beings. We are very, very rare species, actually speaking. Even in our own body, we have minimum 39 trillion microorganisms. We know trillion, right? 39 trillion microorganisms are there in one body. We're all walking planets, you know. In that, one soul is ours. So what is the connection ratio? 39 trillion and 1, okay? And 39 trillion to 760 billion is still very, very less, right? Not even 1%, not even 0.01%. That much rare we are. So we have got that. Like just like getting into IIT or Harvard. After going there, did we use it properly? Did we utilize it? If we don't utilize it, who is at loss? So when we remember all these things, then we straighten ourselves, then we can move forward. But Krishna is very kind. He doesn't see our mistakes. He sees what you do. He doesn't say, hey, day before yesterday, you didn't get up. And previous last month, you missed. He doesn't care all those things. Today you woke up, congratulations, you made it. You made my life. You know, you made me so happy. That's how he is. Like as a parent, we always forgive our children's mistakes, right? We don't say, do you know, when you were 2 years old, you did like this. You broke that toy. I just got a new toy and broke it. Like we never say like that. Now we say, hey, you played that very nicely. You know, you sang that very nicely. We try to appreciate genuinely. Similarly, Krishna genuinely appreciates us. He doesn't worry about our mistakes. He's not a fault-finding God. He's not a punishing God. Like many other faiths say, if you don't do this, you're doomed to hell. He's not like that. He's not like that. When we say, you know, God is like our father and mother, our father doesn't curse us, you go to hell forever, right? They don't. They bless beta or, you know, daughter, you always live long with healthy life. That is the nature, right? They forgive. Similarly, Krishna forgives our mistakes. That doesn't mean we keep on committing mistakes. We have to correct ourselves and understand human life is very rare. If we remember these 4 things, it will be very helpful. Human life is very rare, right? And Krishna is the most loving supreme person. And third thing is waiting for us. He's actually waiting for us. If you see, I think many of you have come to our house, you've seen a picture, right, in the living room. You know, Krishna embracing a devotee. That is how, when we enter spiritual world, there are billions and trillions of living entities there also, right? Personalities. When we enter, Krishna will personally come and will give you a hug, embrace you. Who is doing it? The Supreme Lord, and say, where were you? I was waiting for you. I've been longing to meet you. Krishna says that. Because in spiritual world, time is inconspicuous. Even if you live here millions of years, it is like a second there. Because the time difference, time dilation is in a different platform there. We will talk about it some other time. So Krishna waits for us, right? And the fourth thing is, Krishna made it so easy for us, especially people of Kali Yuga products. He doesn't want us to go to forest and stand on one leg. He doesn't want us to do any, hard work, because he knows we all have to work. We have to take care of our family. So he gave a most easy process. And that's why the demigods, the devatas, right? All the devatas and demigod loka, Swarga loka, they want to come back and be born in earthly planet and chant Hare Krishna and go back to spiritual world like this. For them, our 100 years is like few hours for them. It's like that many. They live longer, isn't it? That's not even few hours. It's like few moments. So they just want to come and finish it and go back. So they are praying that, oh, let me be born in Kali Yuga, in earth, so that I can chant Hare Krishna and go back quickly. So we have got that also. So when we have all this, that might help. Is that okay, Mataji? Sorry if I said anything strongly, but that's my thoughts.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It's really helpful.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So with that, we'll conclude. Thank you all so much. I'm very grateful. And if I said anything inappropriate, please excuse me as your humble servant. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.